At dinner. At my mother-in-law's, I just said I wasn't tasteful. After that, my life changed dramatically. 15 minutes later, she was crying, my wife was screaming, and I was looking for a hostel on Google. I told my mother-in-law I wasn't tasteful over dinner. And 15 minutes later, she was sobbing, my wife was screaming, and I was Googling hostels with one hand and clutching my dignity with the other. What started as a throwaway comment turned into the most surreal, emotionally violent week of my life. Read till the end, because if you've ever felt erased by the people who are supposed to love you, you'll feel every second of this. I still don't know what exactly broke that night. Me, the illusion, or the damn gravy boat. Maybe all three. It was supposed to be one of those family dinners. The kind where the wine's too sweet, the napkins are folded into tiny swans, and every smile feels like it's holding back a scream. I was already on edge, not because I didn't want to be there, but because I'd felt it all day. The subtle frost. My wife, Hannah, 30F, had been quiet. Not her usual distracted quiet, but that brittle, don't touch me kind of silence. And her mom, Deborah, 62F, had texted a can't wait to see you with a passive-aggressive smiley face that made my stomach turn. I, 33 million, was never their first choice. Not even their fifth. From the moment I met Deborah, she treated me like an expired coupon. Barely worth acknowledging, but too awkward to toss. She never said anything overtly cruel. That wasn't her style. Her specialty was the backhanded compliment. Oh, you're wearing that. How brave. Or, you don't mind Hannah being the breadwinner, right? So modern. I used to laugh it off. Play the peacemaker. But it wears you down, drip by drip. Anyway, dinner. It was some kind of special occasion, although no one ever told me what we were celebrating. Just a text that said, family dinner, dress nicely. That was it. When we arrived, the house already smelled like butter, and something roasted within an inch of its life. Deborah was in her element. Pearls, heels, hair sprayed within an inch of reason. She kissed Hannah on both cheeks like they hadn't just seen each other last weekend. Then she turned to me, eyes flicking from my shoes to my collar. Well, she said, that's one way to interpret dress nicely. I bit the inside of my cheek. Smiled. Good to see you, Deborah. She didn't reply. Just turned and called into the kitchen. Alan, they're here. Her husband, Alan, 64 million, appeared like a man summoned from a different century. Cardigan, whiskey glass, distant stare. He barely acknowledged me as always. Their son, Brent, 28 million, wasn't there yet. Deborah made a whole production of checking her phone and sighing dramatically. We sat. Me, Hannah, Deborah, Alan. The good dishes were out. Crystal glasses, cloth napkins. Deborah had made something French, probably, because she kept mispronouncing it with confidence. And then it started. The casual digs. Hannah was quiet. I was trying to keep things light. But everything I said was a spark looking for gas. At one point, Deborah said, you know, some people just don't have the palate for sophistication, and that's okay. Some people grow into taste. And God help me, I laughed. I actually laughed. Then I said, guess I'm just not tasteful. Silence. You know that kind of silence where even the clock seems to stop ticking? Yeah, that. Hannah turned toward me with this look like I'd just insulted the Pope. Alan cleared his throat. Deborah's face twisted into this thing that wasn't quite a frown, but something older and colder. Then she started crying, like full-on tears, as if I'd called her a slur instead of making a self-deprecating joke. And Hannah? She lost it. She stood up so fast her chair slammed into the wall. Why do you always do this? She snapped. Why can't you just be normal? I blinked. What are you talking about? But she was already storming out. Deborah sobbed harder. Alan stood, muttered something about decorum, and followed his daughter. So I sat there, alone, at the table, a steaming plate of lamb or duck or whatever in front of me. Crystal glass untouched. 15 minutes later, I was Googling hostels on my phone from the porch. And I still don't know what the hell just happened. But I know this. Something broke. And I don't think they expected me to walk out. I didn't sleep that night. I crashed in the back seat of my car outside a 24-hour grocery store, curled up under a hoodie that still smelled like our laundry detergent. It was freezing, and I kept waking up every 20 minutes, thinking I heard Hannah's voice or my phone buzzing. Neither happened. What did happen was me staring at the ceiling of my car and replaying every second of that dinner like it was some crime scene. The thing is, I wasn't mad about what I said. I was mad because, deep down, I knew this was never about that comment. That "I'm not tasteful" line? That was just the straw. The camel's back had been groaning for years. I got a text around 6:15 a.m. from Hannah. "You humiliated her. She's not well. She was trying. And you made a joke out of everything." I didn't reply. Just stared at the screen for a full 5 minutes, reading it over and over. She was trying? Trying to what? Break me down slower? I scrolled up through our messages. They'd been getting shorter, blunter. Less "I love you," more "don't forget to grab oat milk." It hit me right then. I'd been losing her in 5-word increments for months. By 7 a.m., I gave up trying to rest and drove to a buddy's place. Jeremy, the kind of friend you see twice a year, but somehow he's always cool with you crashing his couch. He didn't ask questions, just tossed me a blanket and said, "Bathroom's on the left. Want a Red Bull?" That whole day was a fog. No texts from Hannah, no apology, no "Are you okay?" Just silence. But I wasn't completely in the dark, because later that afternoon, I got a DM from Brent, Deborah's son, my brother-in-law. Subject line: "Hey." The message: "Dude, WTF did you say to mom? She was a mess. Had to call her therapist. Hannah's freaking out. Just give her space." I wanted to scream. I wanted to write back, "I said I wasn't tasteful." That's it. That's literally it. But I didn't. Instead, I opened Instagram. And there it was. A post from Deborah, barely 12 hours after the dinner. A soft focus photo of a candlelit table, captioned, "Sometimes the ones who sit at your table are the ones who never belonged there in the first place. Healing starts with goodbye. Family. Shock boundaries. Protect your peace." The comments were even worse. "You're so strong, Deborah. Cutting toxicity is self-care. Proud of you for standing up to the haters." I wasn't named, but I didn't need to be. She was rewriting the story already, and everyone was eating it up like dessert. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a fallout. This was a setup, a slow erosion, and now I was the villain in the family memoir. So I did something I hadn't done since we got married. I opened a folder I hadn't looked at in 3 years, titled Prenup, Final Signed. Because if Deborah was going to make this war, I wasn't walking in unarmed. By day 3, it was official. I'd been excommunicated via silence. No calls, no texts, just one screenshot from Jeremy that made my stomach flip. He'd found a Reddit post, r/justnomil. Title: "My husband embarrassed my mentally fragile mom at dinner and now says I'm overreacting." It was Hannah's account. I knew her throwaway. She'd used it before to vent about work. Now she was using it to make me look like some cruel saboteur who mocked her grieving, emotionally delicate mother during a rare family moment. The post had 3,000 upvotes and rising. People were calling me a narcissist, a bully. One comment said, "OP's husband sounds like the kind of guy who punches walls and then gaslights you about it." I haven't punched anything in my life, except maybe a pillow after watching The Last Jedi. I didn't even comment. What could I say? "Hey guys, I'm the tasteful monster who made a self-deprecating joke and got turned into Reddit's newest hate magnet." I shut my phone off. But the silence didn't last long. That afternoon, I got a call from my sister, Rachel. She never calls, always texts. So I pick up, thinking maybe something serious happened. She skips the pleasantries. "What the hell is going on? I just got a Facebook message from mom asking if you and Hannah are separating because your behavior has become dangerous." Dangerous? I swear to God my ears started ringing. I explained everything, how Deborah cried at dinner because I said I wasn't tasteful, how Hannah stormed off, how I left before I could throw the salad tongs. Rachel just goes quiet, then sighs. "I always knew that woman didn't like you, but this is some next-level manipulation." I sat on the edge of Jeremy's guest bed, staring at a pile of laundry that wasn't mine and realizing that my wife hadn't even tried to defend me. Not once. Not in the post. Not to her family. Not to mine. I was already drafting a reply in my head. Some big dramatic clapback. But then, like fate decided to throw gas on this trash fire, I got another DM from a username I didn't recognize. But the profile pic? It was Deborah. She messaged me directly, "I hope you find peace, but please stop trying to insert yourself where you're not wanted. This family has moved on. Hannah deserves better." I didn't reply. But I did something else. I made a copy of the prenup and uploaded it to my drive. Then I checked the bank statements, then the credit cards. Because if I was being erased, I was going to leave behind a scar. Update 1. Okay, South. Apparently this blew up, not just on Reddit, but in real life. I woke up to 37 unread texts. My aunt, my cousin, some random college friend I haven't seen in 6 years. Because guess what? Someone posted a comment on Hannah's Reddit thread anonymously, linking to a private group text between Hannah, Deborah, and Brent. From before the dinner. They were planning it. The dinner. The emotional setup. Even had a running list of topics to trigger a reaction. One bullet point read, bring up how he didn't go to culinary school. Make it seem like a joke. Wait for his reaction. Yeah. So when I said, I guess I'm not tasteful, I walked straight into their trap. I'm not crazy. I'm not the villain. And now, I'm not staying silent. By Thursday, the air had shifted. The group text leaked by some beautiful, chaotic Reddit angel had gone viral, at least in my little corner of the internet. Screenshots were everywhere. People were piecing together timelines, highlighting how Deborah referred to me as the filler husband, how Brent joked I'd probably cry if they brought up my failed food blog from 2019. And Hannah? She called it all satire in a new post. Out of context jokes between close family members, she said. Satire. Planning to emotionally bait your spouse over dinner, call him unstable, and then ghost him for 4 days. That's just hilarious family banter, apparently. She finally texted me. 2 words. You happy? That's it. Not, I'm sorry. Not, can we talk? Just that. Like I'd thrown a grenade into her curated life and ruined the color scheme. I stared at those 2 words like they might rearrange themselves into something human. They didn't. So I did what I should have done months ago. I replied, I wasn't, but I'm getting there. And then I blocked her. Because here's the thing. This whole drama, it wasn't about a dinner. It wasn't even about Deborah's constant low-grade insults or Brent's smug little finance bro smirks. It was about how Hannah sat there, always sat there, and let it happen. How she'd laugh when her mom said I dressed like a background character in a low-budget rom-com. How she'd roll her eyes when I brought up how lonely I felt at those family events. How she called me sensitive like it was a disease. I wasn't just married to Hannah. I was married into a performance, a curated family brand. Deborah was the matriarchal influencer. Brent was the investment prodigy. Alan was there for background noise. And I was the +1 no one RSVP'd for. But they forgot something. I may be the quiet one, the peacemaker, but I'm also the one who remembers everything. So I started talking. First, I emailed HR at Hannah's job. Didn't rat her out. Just sent a heads up that she might be using company time to run multiple Reddit sock puppet accounts slandering a private individual. Just facts. No commentary, let them draw their conclusions. Then I messaged every single person who had commented on the original Reddit post calling me abusive. Sent them the leaked screenshots. Most didn't reply. A few did. One wrote, I'm so sorry, I totally misjudged that thread. You didn't deserve that. Damn right I didn't. But that wasn't the main event. No, the main event was dinner on Friday night. I sent an invite to Deborah's Ladies Wine Circle Facebook group. Same table, same time, different script. Title of the event? A Tasteful Evening, One Husband's Farewell Tour. I wrote, I may not be tasteful, but I do have receipts. Join me for a one-night-only dinner where the wine is real, the silence is over, and the masks come off. BO decency. I didn't expect anyone to show, but they did. 3 of Deborah's friends, 1 of Hannah's co-workers. Even Alan, who looked like he'd been dragged there by accident. I served frozen pizza and boxed wine. Played a slideshow, literally, a PowerPoint. Slide 1. Quotes from the group chat, with dates and emojis included. Slide 2. How it feels to be erased at your own table. Slide 3. Who pays the mortgage? Spoiler, me. Slide 4. A meme of Deborah's leaked Reddit comment side by side with a quote from The Help. You is kind, you is smart, you is manipulative as hell. It wasn't revenge. It was an unveiling. Alan left halfway through. 2 of the women stayed and asked if I was okay. The 3rd one cried and said Deborah did the same thing to her son's wife. And me? I just stood there. Calm. Center stage. For once, not invisible. They didn't show up that night, but they saw. I know because by 10:30 p.m., Deborah's wine circle event had disappeared from Facebook. Deleted. Poof. And my inbox lit up with a message from a burner account titled, "You've made your point." Attached? A photo of my old wedding invitation, torn in half. No message, just that. It should have felt sad. Maybe once it would have. But now, it just felt cheap. Like they were trying to edit the past with scissors and hurt feelings. Saturday morning, I woke up to 20 missed calls. Half from Hannah, half from unknown. Jeremy was already up, making eggs like nothing was on fire. He handed me a plate and said, "Looks like you kicked the hornet's nest." "I didn't kick it," I said. "I flipped the whole damn hive." He grinned. Then my phone rang again. This time it was her, my wife, my ex-wife. I hadn't decided. I answered. I don't know why. Maybe I still wanted to believe there was something worth saving. "Hannah." She sounded tired. Not weepy, not ragey, just hollow. "You humiliated my mother. She humiliated me for years. She's not well. She was well enough to script a character assassination and let 30,000 strangers call me a monster." Pause. "I didn't think it would go that far," she said. "Yeah, no one ever does. That's how poison works. You start with a drop, then you're drinking it like wine." Another pause. "You embarrassed me," she whispered. I laughed. I couldn't help it. "You invited strangers into our marriage, Hannah. You opened the gates and told them to judge me. And now you're mad I threw open the curtains?" She didn't reply. So I kept going. "I know about the financial stuff, by the way. The credit card you opened in my name, the subscription boxes, the donations to Deborah's podcast about healing through elegance. You thought I wouldn't notice?" She gasped. "That wasn't... I was going to tell you." "You were going to tell me after you got the divorce payout, maybe?" Silence. "I saw the draft in your email, Hannah. Irreconcilable differences stemming from a pattern of emotional volatility. You copied it straight from Reddit's advice thread." Still nothing. "You weren't going to fix this," I said. "You were planning an exit. You just didn't expect me to jump first." She hung up. No goodbye. Just a hard click, like slamming the receiver on an old landline. I stood there with my coffee going cold in my hand, thinking about every tiny moment that should have been a clue. The way she always backed her mom. How she corrected me in front of guests. How she once called my cooking passable in front of her Pilates instructor and laughed like I was in on the joke. I wasn't. I was the joke. So I called my lawyer. It was time to finish this. Update 2. First off, holy hell, I did not expect this story to blow up the way it did. I read every comment, every DM, even the spicy ones. Shout out to the person who said I should serve Deborah a literal plate of taste at her next brunch. You're unhinged. I love you. But real talk. You all made me feel seen. Like maybe I wasn't crazy, or fragile, or ungrateful like they kept saying. You reminded me that holding people accountable isn't drama. It's survival. So, here's what happened after part 5. After Hannah hung up, I sent one final message. "You have until Friday to clear out your things. I filed. I've frozen the joint account. I've forwarded everything to my lawyer. I'm done." And I meant it. She replied an hour later. One word. Fine. No apology, no denial, just acceptance. Like a queen surrendering a castle she never really built. Now here's the twist I didn't expect. Alan. Yeah, the cardigan-clad dad who usually just mumbled at the dinner table. He called me. Called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "Son," he said, "I just want you to know, I never wanted this." I told her she was going too far. I sat there, stunned. "Then why didn't you say anything?" He sighed. "Because in this house, silence is safer. But I'm tired of silence." We talked. For 45 minutes, and for the first time, someone in that family didn't gaslight me. He admitted they used me. That Hannah and Deborah treated me like a footnote in my own life. That they chose the performance over the person. And then, he said something I'll never forget. "You were the only honest one at that table, and that scared the hell out of them." Y'all, I choked up. Later that week, I came home to find a package on my porch. No note, no return address, just a box. Inside, the broken gravy boat from that night, taped back together, wrapped in a kitchen towel I hadn't seen in months, the one embroidered with, "Love is seasoning, not the meal." I stood there holding it like some cursed artifact, realizing this was their peace offering, their olive branch. So I walked out back, dug a hole, and buried the damn thing. No pyrotechnics, no speech, just earth and closure. Because some things don't need burning. They need burying. It's strange how silence can taste different when it's yours. After everything, after the gravy boat, the leaked texts, the Reddit chaos, and Hannah's one-word fine, I figured I'd feel empty. But I didn't. I felt weightless. Like I'd been carrying this massive, invisible load for years, and suddenly, it just slipped off. I spent that weekend rebuilding my apartment. Not just cleaning, resetting, tossed old photos, packed the framed wedding picture into a box labeled Forgiveness, and left it at the donation center. Bought new sheets in a shade Hannah always said made the room look cheap. Painted my kitchen cabinets this absurd matte navy. Swapped out the dusty bar cart for a two-tier plant stand. That Sunday, Jeremy and I walked to the farmer's market. I hadn't been in years. I used to say I was too busy, but really I just didn't like the way Deborah talked about it, like it was beneath her. All those sweaty people pretending lemons are therapy, she once said. But standing there in the morning light, holding a bag of sun-warmed oranges and listening to someone strum Landslide on acoustic guitar, I finally understood why people go. It's quiet joy. It's no one watching you. It's just being. That's where I met Ellie. She was selling lemon tarts at this tiny pop-up booth with a handwritten sign. Bitter can still be sweet. I bought one. She smiled like she knew I needed it. And damn, it was perfect. Crumbly, tart, a little too bold on the zest. It didn't care if it was tasteful. It wasn't trying to be anything but itself. We started talking. She said she started the booth after her divorce last year. Said baking gave her a reason to get up. Said bitterness wasn't the enemy. It was the ingredient. I laughed harder than I had in weeks. We talked until her booth closed. I helped her pack up. We didn't exchange numbers. Just names. Just eye contact. Just real. That night, I took the last of the frozen lasagna Deborah gave us for Christmas and dropped it in the trash. Then I sat on the porch, bit into the last half of that lemon tart, and let it crumble all over my fingers like it was supposed to. It wasn't clean, it wasn't polished, but it was mine. Epilogue? I don't know where this ends. Maybe with a date. Maybe just with me learning how to exist without apologizing for taking up space. But I do know this. I may not be tasteful, but I finally have taste. And it's nothing like what they tried to sell me. It's loud, bright, messy, real, and it's so much better.